It's another powerful meeting of the Bros of the Brew right here online. And we're glad you joined our party. Josie Joe here in Jersey City. Eye on the box over there in Vegas, enjoying a... Oh, what is that? What was that?
It's a new IPA I picked up.
Oh, check that out. That's pretty good. Fancy bottle. One thing we want to remind our viewers, we enjoy meeting online, having a drink, but don't drink and drive. What is that? She's like a little zodiac sign thing. But we're not here to talk about beer or not tonight. We're here to talk about basically rides that you would hail. Taxi versus Uber, Lyft. What do you think is the better ride? Put this question out on social media. We got a good bit of responses from you guys. And of course, our famous poll come up a little bit later. We want to invite you, our live viewers right now, to join our conversation. What do you think is a better ride? Taxis or Uber, Lyft, or whatever else is available in your area? Joe, we'll go to you first because all that's available out in Vegas. I've used them both. You have. What's your experience? Taxis or Uber, Lyft?
I have a pet camel, so I just go with that. His name's Davis. Davis the camel. I got him when I was in Egypt. He's actually pretty reliable, and he stores a lot of water. So I'm going to go with Davis the camel.
I'm sure he's fully insuranced and licensed.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Nice and legal. All right, well, I'll put in my serious vote. In all seriousness, for me, Uber or Lyft, preferably Lyft. It's cheaper than a taxi. And you know what? I've been taking a ride for a joyride by taxis one too many times. Once out in Vegas, they take a long route downtown. And then one time here, when you take a taxi in New York City, it's a flat rate to the airport. You don't pay anything else. I think at the time it was like $50. The guy decided to take the long way, and then he didn't turn on the meter. I caught that, so I knew we were already screwed. And then by the time we got to the airport, he tried to charge me $80. It is not $80 to go from the World Trade Center pass station to JFK Airport. So I busted the guy, and he's like, no, it's $80. And we get to the airport, I'm like, there's a Port Authority cop standing right there. If I take this issue to him, he's going to have you busted. And then I asked the guy for a receipt. He made up a bullshit receipt with $20 on him. I gave him $60 because that was the proper rate plus tip. I gave him $60. I took a picture of his medallion, took a picture of the receipt, turned his ass in. He got busted and fined for trying to break the law. It's illegal. He tried to take me for a ride. I wasn't stupid. And that's happened in Vegas before. Has a taxi driver ever taken you for a ride before, try to charge you more than what they're supposed to?
I only took a cab once here, and it cost $90 to go from the airport to the north side of town. So It was way too much.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. It was. I mean, it was like a 45-minute ride, but it was like, shit, I could have done anything else would have been cheaper. Like anything.
And that's the problem. And that's why taxis are losing to Uber, because it's, capitalism. It's how our market is. And right now, Ubers and Lyfts are cheaper than taking a taxi. It's the taxi union's own fault. I understand they have to pay big bucks for medallions. I understand they're regulated in cities because they have to go through certain regulations and their unions. But they need to figure out that their product is inferior to the ride-sharing apps that tell you the flat rate price and you know where you're going. It's like Sears versus Amazon. Sears is going out of business because their product is antiquated. It doesn't work anymore. Amazon's kicking their ass. Right now, Uber and Lyft are kicking taxi drivers' asses.
It's not like Uber and Lyft don't have a bunch of regulations, especially Lyft.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many. It's like a regular job that you have to apply for. You have to have all these level of requirements that you have to meet in order to be a driver. So It's not like you have Joe Schmo who just, hey, I'm going to stop murdering people today and go drive a Lyft because it pays better. Like, you get really good people that are doing this that have to maintain a good rating, clean car, new car, perfect driving record, all kinds of shit.
Yeah, they're definitely vetted. They go through a process. So you're right. Not just anybody can get it. And like here in New Jersey, there are strict insurance regulations, driving regulations. And then I know like for Uber drivers, you have to maintain, I think it's a 4.2 plus continue even driving on their platform. So these guys are vetted, whereas I get in a cab here sometimes, it's like rolling the dice. They give anybody a medallion. I know they work for these companies. These guys have to pay for these medallions. And I know most of them are on the up and up. But you know what? The antiquated system is over. They're now just rolling out apps for taxis here in New York City. That should have been done years ago when you saw that the ride-sharing programs were coming. I know it's a tough deal. I know they pay more to be vetted as being a taxi driver, but that's your local law has got to change. But it's capitalism. It's just a better product on the app. Well, all right, we have a bunch of your viewers who
Hashtag no cap.
comments on this one. So let's see what you think. What's the better ride? James says Uber or Lyft easily because they have the location and directions, so you don't need to explain and you don't get overcharged if there's traffic like yellow cabs in New York City do. That is the one thing because a lot of these cabbies, they don't have like a map inside of theirs, Joel. So you're the one like giving them directions. You got to know where you're going.
Yeah, and there's nothing stopping them from going, oh, okay, over here?
Yeah.
And, accidentally going down somewhere that takes them 20 extra minutes to get there.
Yeah, that's being called long haul, and that's what happened to me a couple of times. And you know what? That's why I go for rideshare apps now because it's all tracked, it's on the up and up. And when you have a problem, you have somebody you can dispute it with, unlike when you're stuck with a taxi service. There's really not much you can do. Let's take our next comment because Keith says, I have been advocating for Lyft over Uber for some time. The reason is that those who have driven for both tell me that Lyft treats its drivers much better. That being said, I am really starting to rethink using either. The taxi industry is being destroyed for much lower paying jobs. It is truly not fair that cities do not regulate ride sharing like they do taxi. That is true. I mean, the cities really aren't regulating the rideshare as much. The only thing I found, I remember years ago, like you couldn't even take one in Nevada. I flew into Reno that one time. They had just legalized it there. When you and I were in Hawaii in December, they were just able to pick up at the airport. And when you and I were in Cabo, Mexico, you can't take an Uber or Lyft at all because the taxi cartel is so tight. So the unions are fighting it. But it's still in a lot of places.
Yeah, but it's kind of like fighting for VHS tapes. I mean, it's going away.
Yeah.
Get used to it. It's going away.
That's right. That's right. Just like I was saying before, like, you know what? You know you're in trouble. Get a better product. Figure it out. But they're going, I'm just going to get my little picket signs out. No, get mad. I will say one thing, though. We have heard news stories that Uber drivers, they don't get the full fare. Like what you pay, they get about half of that. But if they take enough riders at night, well, then, you know what? They can certainly make up for it. Because I know a friend of mine used to drive down in Atlantic City. And he'd made bank on the weekend, hundreds of dollars just by taking little trips from the casinos. So it can be profitable if you do it in the right place and or way.
Well, just like Keith said, I mean, I interview the drivers every single time. I've been on hundreds, probably close to 1,000 rides of either Uber or Lyft in all kinds of different cities and states. And most of them prefer Lyft. Some of them prefer Uber. But for the most part, it has to do with the treatment of the drivers. And I've found that the treatment of the passengers is a little bit better in Lyft as well. So I'm not even kind of surprised that it's better for the person, the city, the driver, the passenger, and the city.
Yeah, it is. And then, of course, I mean, most people like you and I, normal people take Uber, taxis, or Lyft. But like in the corporate world, you hire a car service. So, for example, like your big A-list celebrities like J-Lo and A-Rod aren't taking an Uber Lyft most of the time. They're probably taking an expensive car service. So there is that difference. But we're talking about the consumer end, like what the real people that watch this show, you and I, would do.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure that doesn't really factor into Uber and Lyft. They're looking at how much money are they going to make overall.
Yeah.
Not how many J-Los and A-Rods are going to be purchasing their product. They're going to be looking at how much money they make, period, regardless of who takes their service, uses it.
Let's take our next viewer comment, because Richard says, after the Uber guy shooting his passenger 10 times, I don't know about them. All right, there's going to be a bad apple no matter where you go. There's going to be a bad employee. Yes, okay, it's happened. There's taxi drivers up here that have gotten out and beaten people with ball bats, too. I mean, it happens everywhere. It's just humans. Unfortunately, we can't just all get along.
There's a lot more stories about Uber having problems with either punching a passenger or a driver, or like I don't know. I don't think there's that many extreme cases of someone getting shot, but there's more of those than there is from Lyft. But I mean, it's the real world. Nothing's perfect. Like you can get shot just walking across the street anywhere at any time. So.
Yeah. The thing is, though, with Uber and Lyft, at least if you're a bad apple, you're out. It's, you're going to be vetted, you can be, followed and tracked. Whereas a taxi driver, unless enough complaints go to your dispatcher, your company, it's hard as a consumer to know, is this guy safe? I'm hoping he is, because I've been in some taxi cabs here in New York City that are blowing the speed limit, blowing red lights. I mean, they would, it's sometimes they're not safe. So you got to put your faith in a system, or at least with the app, you can hold people accountable. Well, let's go to the poll right now, because you know what? You guys always have the final answer. So let's find out. Do you think, which car service would you rather use? Ride sharing? 63% of you said that you would take Lyft or Uber. 38% said taxi cabs. and other 0. I put that in there thinking car service or bumming a ride off your friend. So that's where that comes in. And hey, speaking of taxi, remember that 70s and 80s TV show with Tony Danza and Danny DeVito? Wasn't that great on NBC, Taxi, all those years ago? That was a fine program. Yeah, I know. Most of you millennials, Joe, you don't remember the TV show Taxi. I highly doubt we're going to get a 2010 version, Uber Lyft, but you never know. Hollywood keeps recycling ideas. But one idea we don't recycle is you joining us here on this web show. So make sure you click that like or subscribe button down below so you don't miss any more shows of The Brew. And Thursday on Kicking Back with Jersey Joe, oh, this ties in. It's more crazy calls to 911 in New York City via the Citizen app. It's a little app that tracks when people call 911 for help. And this time we got people calling for a guy playing his guitar on the roof, a drunk guy slapping people, and Justin Timberlake's fans out of control, and more crazy, funny, and wild crimes in New York City on the Citizen app. That's Thursday, Kicking Back with Jersey Joe. Right? It would be a crime to miss The Brew each and every week.
Oh, yeah. It's totally illegal. And we're going to start regulating that like we do Uber and Lyft.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. By the way, I like how the sun is shining directly on your face over. You're like ready to beam up in heaven like you're Jesus or something. So it's a little...
I am holy. No, I'm better than Jesus, as one of my coworkers says.
Yeah, very, very holy. Well, hey, I want to thank everybody for dialing up the live show today. Thank you for our viewers for any of your great comments. Jersey Joe here, eye on the box over there. Go Knights, go. Joel and I will be together in Vegas in a few days. We're going to Game 5, and we'll see you next time, I hope.